Independent grind powered by Tech Nine.
And you've actually talked to us before, but it was, I think, about last year, and a lot's changed for us. Where Alec and I are new hosts of the show, and I guess, you know, a lot's changed for you. Signed to 300, album out. Can you sort of talk about what the last year or so has been like for you?
It's pretty much just been a ride. Everything is like coming fast, opportunities, shows, milestones, things like that. Me constantly trying to put together great pieces of work back to back and consistently. So I guess you could say it's just been an independent grind on my own. Just been out here working.
Awesome. And now you actually recently signed, since we last talked, or you talked to Indie Grind last, signed to 300. I'm curious, can you sort of talk about that process, you know, how you first got linked up with them and what made them the right fit for you?
300 first showed up at a show I had at Coda nightclub in Philly. And I was doing I had like a one song set. I was doing Wani Wag from Awful Was Watching the Kids at this Charlie Heath event, and that was the first time I really got introduced to 300. And from there, we pretty much became a relationship, I guess. Whether it was through John, talking to him through, or us going to New York and sitting down with him at the office, playing the music, whatever the case may be. Just came to the point where I felt like 300 was the right move at the time, and that's what we were going to do. I actually signed digitally, so I signed while I was still in my bedroom, and it was that simple. And
That's crazy. I can't believe. I feel like it's such a hip hop tradition that, you know, you see them signing the paper. I guess that's the new way to do it now. What's been the biggest difference for you, sort of since signing, or what ways have they really helped push your music?
I just let me. That's why I keep them up here. I'm sorry, yo.
That's fine.
Can you just repeat that last part again?
Yeah, just sort of what's been the biggest difference since signing, or what ways have they really helped you sort of take your music to the next level?
Since signing is more so you're able to say that you're signed. That's the most I pretty much get out of it. Like, yeah, I'm signed to, or I'm affiliated with this company. And we pretty much just doing what we've been doing since before we got signed. Nothing really changed. Distribution deal. So it's kind of like we get it was, but we want it going to be. Yeah, that's pretty much how it was. Not really that much of a difference. If anything, we're treated differently. Like, we're seen in a different light as far as professionalism and having that connect.
Absolutely, and they have a pretty incredible roster of, you know, well-balanced guys who are newer, up-and-coming guys, younger guys, and then also older guys and stuff. Did who they signed before go into your decision to sign with them at all?
I would say what played a major part in my decision to sign to 300 was more so my comfortability with the label and how I felt, how I treat me as an artist. I really didn't care who was already comfortable with it. That didn't really matter to me.
Mm-hmm. Were you in talks with any other labels or anybody else, or was it just 300?
There was a couple other labels that we were talking to, and whether it didn't pan out for certain reasons, we just came up with we came to the conclusion that 300 was a situation that we were most comfortable with.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And then sort of getting into Camden, how much was that all music done before you had signed, or did they influence the project at all?
Nah. When I was making Camden, so they would just let me do it. So all they wanted was Down by the River on whatever album I was creating. The next project just had to have Down by the River on it. That's one song done already. So the rest of it was just stuff that I either was already working on while I was in the process of getting signed, or stuff that I created afterwards based on how my experiences were. We did like at least 2 tours since we got signed. So it was just based on stuff like that, and I just wanted to embody that side of myself, as well as past experiences and the storytelling stuff that you get on the album. But I had to actually live life after I got signed to actually make that happen.
Yeah, you mentioned Down by the River. Another one that seems to be sort of popping right now is Frank Ocean. I'm curious, sort of, there's a song by him that I love, Songs for Women, that kind of has the same vibe that sort of, he talks about like all she wants to listen to is Drake or whatever. Was it inspired at all by that song specifically?
Say that song directly, love that song, but I don't think so. When I wrote it, it was merely off of an experience that I kind of had with my city and like ex relationships, and I felt like I was signed now, but I still had that independent artist mindset. I feel like that would be kind of an anthem for everybody who's ever done what I've done or what I'm doing right now. And I feel like that's an experience that a lot of guys, a lot of females, or people just in general trying to make music have, where they don't get the support of their immediate family or friends or their significant other. So I just wanted to put that into the song. And it was inspired mainly by Nights when I first heard the album. And I heard it late. When I first listened to it, I ain't really so I just started listening to it more. The songs I actually did like, and Nights was one of the ones that I actually loved and actually listened to. And yeah, it just came genuinely after that. I just want to give a homage to one of my favorite artists at the time.
Absolutely. And do you sort of, if it came generally, does that happen a lot? Because I feel like there's so many different styles of that you have, songs like, Frank Ocean's one, and then or WYD is another one. That's just like all these different styles. How do you, when you go into the studio, do you go in with a specific mind state, or do you let it happen naturally?
Literally let it happen naturally. It all depends on what the beat makes me feel at the time. I kind of use what I learned from my art when I was in school. They always taught me, like, whether you're working with paper or you're working with rock and you're making sculptures and shit like that, what you want to create is already there. It's just up for you to like get away, like chisel away at all the bullshit and then create what you want to create. But it's already there. You just have to, get rid of all the other stuff. So that's pretty much how I approach beats. Like when I listen to a beat, the song, the hit, whatever the case may be, it's already there. You gotta listen to the melodies, you gotta feel it. It's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into how I create my music before I even open my mouth and create the hook. Like, I want to give a vibe, a feel, a mood. I come up with all of that before I say, all right, this is what the song's going to be about, or this is what the melody is. So it's kind of like a radio station. Once the beat plays, I'm kind of battling the beat at that point. Like, oh, this is what you're giving me? All right, I'm going to just add this to it, and I'm going to just fuck you up. So that's kind of how I look at it when I'm going to the studio, or if Kev and Kenny send me some beats.
And I think going sort of along with that, one of the biggest, like for me, takeaways from Camden was how you have a cohesive sound, yet there's so many different styles, and it's like still, but each one is distinctly you. But is there a style, like I'm thinking, Moneybag is like a very big track. It has those one-liners. Then you have Shorty Story, which is like a big narrative. Down by the River has a slower vibe. Is there a sound you started with or that you built from? Or were you always a diverse approach to everything diverse?
I was always trying to be diverse because I never wanted to be put in a box. But if I had to say a certain style that my essence is more so the Shorty Stories and the Down by the Rivers. I've been doing those for forever. Like the more up tempo, type songs like What You Doing and Still in the Hood. Those are tracks I feel are the easiest, so I never did them. Because I felt like I was making music and it was too easy to do it wrong. But it was like that for years, and I realized it's okay to have fun with music. whether you think it's like everything doesn't have to be a brain twister or a super complex Law and Order episode. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just start having fun with this shit, because if I'm super serious all the time on stage, like it became a point where people thought I was unapproachable as an artist. Like they wouldn't even try to set up interviews, they wouldn't try to talk to me or anything after shows. Like they thought I was on some I don't know, and maybe I was a gothic kid or something. It was like they were like, stories are so dark and his whole family's dead, and it was crazy shit. And like, I'm like, damn, I didn't know my whole family was dead. But it was just a lot going on. So I'm a very fun-loving guy. Like I'm goofy. I like to tell jokes, but that doesn't come easy. So every now and then I like to just or whatever the case may be.
When did that perspective come? Like when you sort of got comfortable with branching out and trying different songs and later songs? When did you start to go that direction?
It was after Crazy. After I did He So Crazy, I was just dropping things. I didn't want to worry about it. It's clear what I've been doing isn't working. It was going to be on that got me time. So I was like, this, nobody's doing this, then I don't know what else to do. So I pretty much just stepped back, and it was more so like I dropped Steph Curry after that. And Steph Curry was still kind of like borderline fun, still rugged. And then I dropped Low, and then I dropped Wani Wag. Once I dropped Wani Wag, it was more so like a heat check. Because it was like after Steph Curry dropped, and that got the most numbers that I had at that moment, like ever. And then I dropped Low, and then that started doing numbers I hadn't seen before on my SoundCloud. Then I dropped Wani Wag, and Wani Wag became this like cult classic thing. It was like a heat check. So I'm like, all right, clearly my fans like some of that fun shit. So that shit they don't have to think about. The story's not backwards, or it's not a plot twist at the end where he kills his mom. And then, you know what I mean? So it was like if I wanted to be this diverse artist, I had to actually open up without giving up who I am as an artist. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to have fun, but don't dumb yourself down type shit. It was more so trying to find.
And something I love about the album again is the artwork. And you mentioned you were an artist yourself. Did you do that art for it? I'm thinking the Frank Ocean art, the WYD art. Did you do that, or is that someone else?
It's a collection of me, my graphic designer Oz Moran, and my other graphic designer Manny Ortiz. I went to school with both of them. I come up with the concepts. I sketch out like the first drafts or so. So I might even work on it with them sometimes. But usually I sketch like the first draft of what I have in my mind, and then I'll tell them to go crazy with it on the computer. And then Manny will go crazy with it digitally, and then they'll pass it back and forth through email or whatever. And then sometimes I might touch it, or we just go like that. Because they all come from the same place I come from as far as like artistic goals. We all had the same teachers, so we all had the same track mind when it comes to how we approach the art. So it's easy for us to work that way, and easy for us to all have the same teacher when we're working together.
And I love the way the art sort of represents the album as a whole. Can you talk about that, the concept between the art and relating it back to the music?
Like since I started rapping, I always wanted to interpolate the fact that I was an artist and incorporate art back into hip hop. But that covered meant a lot. Like when I was listening to any album, not even just a rap album, if I had the CD pitch, I would stare at the cover while I'm listening to the music. The music, as far as Camden goes, when we were approaching the art, we wanted to give off the sense of a jungle feel, kind of how can I say? It's like you're in this crazy ass environment, but it's as if you're casually like this is everyday life, which is a metaphor for like Camden, New Jersey. It's the crazy ass environment. The city's only like 9 square miles. 80,000 people, and it's just reckless and it's ridiculous. So I wanted to give that off without giving it like without spoon feeding you. I could have easily showed a bunch of guns and showed a bunch of, you know what I mean, fucked up rundown things and whatever the case may be, like in a different way. Damn near Alice in Wonderland type shit. Like, you come into the jungle, you got apex predators, you got the prey, you got snakes, which you can relate to real life. You got rats, which you can relate to real life. You got gorillas, which is the goons who don't really care and the bitches just wild out. You got those in real life. You got the lion-hearted niggas. You got those in real life. There's so many animals that you can portray to these people. You know what I mean? And it will all make sense in that world. So we wanted to give that up while in European experience, as far as the painting went. There's so many different people out here, so many different types of minds and ways of thinking out here. And you try to show all of that throughout the album promos and the picture of me, Ozzy, and me, Manny, and Ozzy.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think it paints, you said it, you know, sort of I wanted to paint the picture. I think it paints it perfectly. And I also think that your music does the same thing. I think, you know, the sort of the best albums transport someone into there. And I feel like you give a real feel to Camden and give it a real personal touch. And one of the ways I think that happens is with that narrative, sort of the story. Can you talk about that story and then building the narrative, or like the album around the narrative? Did that come and say, okay, I have these three, you know, the interlude, you know, the intro, and Shorty Story is sort of the end. Was that a conscious thing? Did you start with those and then build from there, or did that come throughout the process of recording?
That came like throughout the process while we were recording it. It was like the album was up damn near done. Shorty Story was done and all of that. And I felt like the album was missing a little something. So when we were listening for like the last time before we mixed it down, I came up with the idea for the intro, and I came up with the idea for I think we already had a skit on Cold though. I think that skit was already there, but we just had to change it around so it made sense for Shorty Story. And it was like we would have made it beginning, middle, and end type thing. That's just something that happened while we were just making the albums. It wasn't something I thought of in the beginning.
Where did the inspiration for the story come from?
It's so many that I've heard. So I just wanted to give a shocking story, period. In not in this society anymore, but it used to be scary or inhumane women. At the beginning of the album was like the biggest hope that I can think of. Like, this is what goes on, like that, and that's regular. Like, that's a terrible thing, but that's a mild story compared to like the crazy shit that goes on. So I just wanted to start off with a hook. Shout out my spirit, you know what I mean? You just got to start off a great story with a hook. Like, how does it start? Like, somebody starts off getting kidnapped. Somebody starts off, you know what I mean, in an interrogation room or something like that. So it was more so about how I wanted to captivate or capture the audience before this life even came on. Because I feel like this life is my influence and shows me the tape in a kind of mellow way. And I didn't want to be mellow at all from the beginning. So we needed the intro to kind of give it a little edge, spice things up a bit.
And I think Shorty Story, for me, it's one of the most, you know, jarring songs on the album, and it's the last song. It's almost like a mic drop in a sense. Like, did you know you wanted to end with that one? Yeah, like when I made Shorty Story, I'm like, there's nowhere else this can go but at the end, because there's nothing that can follow this up. How do you, like what if I couldn't put Ain't Afraid at the end of Shorty Story. That would have just been absurd. Like, that would have, you Shorty Story back, or the album I felt like would have just been so lopsided if Shorty Story was anywhere but at the with that, just because of the way that the song itself. So yeah, it was kind of like, I'm gonna just fuck niggas up at the end of the album with this. If you ain't like any other song on the album, get to the last track and holler back at your boy. And plus, it was more so like,
Shorty Story, if you let the whole album play through, it goes right back into the intro. So it's a big-ass circle, which is another metaphor for the circle of violence that goes on out here. After he kills his mom, somebody goes and kills someone else, which starts the circle of violence all up over again. So, yeah.
Yeah, it really is an incredible way to album. And I mean, think of all, like, there's the fun tracks, like I Get Juiced Up, Listen to Moneybag, and Afraid is sort of very anthemic. And then all of a sudden the end is Shorty Story. And it's like just an incredible way to end the album. And I think it really makes it resonate. And it, again, it shines light onto what's going on in Camden. And so I'm curious, you really obviously rep for your city. What are you doing to use your platform to give back, or how are you planning to sort of maybe end the cycle or break the cycle, or at least do your part to try to do that?
You got to actually connect with the kids. You got to connect with the youth. When I say kids, I mean, like, even seniors in high school are still like kids. Like, you got to, that's who's doing, I'm that out here. So, okay, the future of the city is going to continue to be what it is. I go to schools, talk to the kids, to my old high school, talk to a couple of kids. I got a show in August, back to school giveaway. It's like a 3-day weekend. They have me performing on the last day for the kids. It's my first time performing in Camden, actually, since I got signed. Because there's no venues out here, there's nowhere to perform. So if you want to perform, it's most likely going to be a block party or stop the violence type situation. But yeah, slowly but surely, like, once I start these bands, I got a lot of plans that I actually want to implement into the city before I'm doing what I can. So if I got to go up there and shut the stage down, I'll do it.
Definitely. And I feel like so often it feels like, or for artists, you think you have to be, like, on the biggest level, like, the Kendrick or J. Cole to give back. And I think so much of it is just sort of showing for your city, or like coming back to it. So I think it's great that you're already even, just being signed, giving back to it. And yeah, I think that wraps it up for us. Looking ahead, what are you working on right now that you're excited about? What do you got in the pipeline?
A couple of shows, trying to give me some college shows. I want to probably drop an EP before 2018 comes. We'll see how that looks. I want to drop a movie for Shorty Story. That's going to be exciting. We're working on dropping a music video actually for every song on the album.
Nice.
Just looking forward to new music, new content, new stuff for y'all. It's a lot of interviews and a lot of cool stuff we did with 300. Supposed to be dropping on YouTube soon. So, yeah, it's a lot of stuff to look forward to.
This is the genius, Chris Calico. Cali, baby. Letting you know you're tuned into Tech Nine's Independent Grind on Dash Radio.